So in this video, we're going to focus on evaluating our car and letting our car communicate to us. One of the common mistakes we often make is that we attack door panels or body panels in areas where the greatest resistance is. So it's important to understand that with newer construction vehicles, the body panels are actually assembled utilizing automotive adhesives and epoxies to attach the outer body panels or the skins to the inner body panels. When we try to push, pull, pry, displace on the edges of those body panels at the points of greatest resistance, which are our ultimate objectives, the hinges, the nadir pins, the latches, that's typically when we're going to skin those out. And skinning and shearing are not ideal when they're not planned applications. So we're really going to focus a lot today on talking about how to attack the greatest points of ease and access to start pushing the inside of the material out, so that when we do get our hydraulic tools in place to really get our good pushes and cuts, we're separating what we want to separate and not what we don't want to separate. We'll also talk about how pieces and parts are put together, understanding where spot welds are and where seams are, and utilizing the right angles of pushes so that we make the material respond the way we want it to, as opposed to, again, something that's undesirable. On newer cars, these body panels are adhered to an inner panel, so you got an outer panel and an inner panel, and they're all put together with an adhesive. There's no more spot welds around the outside seam of this. When we typically attack these doors, everybody likes to develop a purchase point and then go right to where? To the objective. The latch and the nadir pin, the hinges, whatever it is you're trying to attack. Especially on newer cars, this is the point of greatest resistance within this assembly. If I start attacking from the edge right here, I'm basically pushing against the outside of this panel against the point of greatest resistance on the inside of the panel. My likelihood of skinning this out, peeling it or shearing it without getting a good pop is really, really high. You're a lot better off focusing on the window rails, in my opinion. So if you want to attack this door, especially if you've got a combi tool and you can't come in here and spread in the window or pinch the door to create a really good purchase point and get deep set in there, use your Halligan, come along that window rail, flex that out, and create a good purchase point up here that's going to allow you to get your tips into the interior of this window rail. Then as you start to spread that, you're going to work your way down towards the assembly that you're trying to get to, and by the time you've opened this up, the inside of the door panel is folded over a little bit and exposed. Now you're pushing against the inside of the panel instead of the outside of the panel, which is just going to skin out. Everybody follow that? So it's easy to get focused on your objective, but I would say look at your car, look at how it's wrecked, look what's exposed to you, and try and attack what's there and what the vehicle is already giving to you that gives you access to the inside of the panels. Resist the temptation to push, pinch, and peel, do any of those things along the outside of the panels, okay? If you do have spreaders, you can pinch these, but you need to think about how you're developing momentum or energy within this panel and what you're trying to accomplish. So when we pinch these panels, what it will typically do is start an inward deflection on the door. When we come back here to force this door now and we start to blow it apart, it's obviously going to crease in towards the victim. So if you've got a victim on the inside rear seat back here, I would say it's a better application to spread the window vertically, which is going to take the middle of this panel and get it started which way? Out away from the patient. Now when you start to pop this, everything's going to blow away from them as opposed to in towards them. You also got to be conscientious about your Bs and what side out techniques you're going to use, whether it's a fold down or whether it's a rip and blitz. If you've got a lot of midpoint intrusion on a patient's hip, femur, anything that's causing them a lot of pain on that area, especially when you have a high profile car that T-bones a low profile car, when they have reinforced bar segments through the middle of these doors, it'll carry that B and just fold it right over their hips. A compression of this side that pushes forward and in towards the victim is not real tolerated. You'll usually get a lot of screaming real quick. So in those applications, we're going to be a lot better off popping or cutting our latch assembly back here, and then popping or cutting our hinges, making a cut on the B, and taking all this material out and away from the patient in a fold down, as opposed to a forward compression or a rip and blitz or two distinct door pops and a B cut. So as those four companies, you'd have your 4 points, you would have engaged your hood, you would have de-energized the vehicle, You now want to have two other things that get accomplished before the rescue company actually gets there. Making a single windshield cut, if it's going to be appropriate, is advantageous. The second thing is to skin out all of the plastic cosmetics inside of the vehicle. So on the A, B, and C post, and on the roof line, if you have any plastic moldings, pop those off so that they're all exposed so that we can identify where our hazard points are. Any supplemental restraint systems that are buried in there, the quicker we know that they're there, the quicker we can make good rescue sequence action plans about how we're going to attack the vehicle. If we have that side impact that we're talking about, tons of intrusion on the side, start thinking right away, side fold down. If we don't have a lot of side intrusion, but they are in trap, then go ahead and think rip and blitz.